and subscribe button to receive updates. Episode 1. One day I asked my history professor at Baylor University how to start a podcast about history. He told me to just start writing every day. Begin with 500 words per day. Now, this probably would not make sense as I'm not writing anything about history right now, but just trying to figure out what to write about. Or wait, maybe talking about oneself is also history. Honestly, I do not know where to start because I took many different history classes and have a lot of interests that I want to use and cover. But at the same time, research and knowledge I have already been written in essays and projects. I have no additional research at hand right now, but I cannot wait to continue doing more research, but that is in a few months away. So I decided I am going to start with the basics and see if this can be a good start to this podcast. Anyways, what exactly can I talk about regarding the basics of history, you might ask? Isn't it just a study of the past? In my opinion, I believe a lot of the general public has a slight misconception of history, and therefore using that I have learned from my professors, I will in my best ability explain what history is. First of all, history does include studying the past, but it is not just memorizing key people, events, and/or dates. There's way more to it than that. One addition is that furthermore to knowing the information, you need to also understand the information. For example, one person can know that the American Civil War took place in the United States in the years 1861 to 1865, and that Abraham Lincoln was the president. But what does that mean to us, to know this information? Well, we want to look into why the American War started, for one. A great example can be to read a recent book that came out in 2024 by Eric Larson titled The Demon of Unrest, which covers the start of the war with the election of Lincoln and Fort Sumter. This is how we interpret the past, not just looking at names and dates, but understanding the context of those historical information. Next, history is not just the study of the past, but also how it is studied. This ties into the study of historiography, the study of history, meaning how historians do their work. Sure, this is more historiography, but it still connects with history. The methods that historians use defines how the general public looks at history. For one, if you're not a historian, how do you learn history? My guess is that most people look at secondary sources, which are books, articles, and essays, and tertiary sources like textbooks that you receive when you do school. Looking at these sources to learn what they want to learn. These places are easily accessible on the internet. But how do these sources become what they are? They are historians studying primary sources, which are sources that came from the event or the historical phenomenon itself. Tune in next week when we expand on this more. But final concluding thought, what makes what I am saying special, different to any other history podcasts before? Honestly, I do not know. But perhaps my first episode was erased. But I believe us historians eagerly trying to keep history alive during this technological and AI environment is key to making sure the authentic way of studying history stays alive.